in Heaven's Ward, which is patch 3.3, where we finally confront the ultimate version of Nidhogg, and then in Stormblood, which is sort of like 4.3, which is the closure of every single storyline that was in Stormblood, which is Yotsu and Fordola, and sort of 5.3, which is the return of the Crystal Eggs arc and on into the War of the First, right? So I was wondering if, because I am still on 6.0 to be exact, and put in the place of the story. I was always wondering whether I needed to push into 6.3 or otherwise, and I eventually got the confirmation that I need to push into 6.4. But obviously, I'm still in 6.0 right now. So these are like three things that was sort of like the combination of like a lot of like frustration on my personal part of making this, right? And a lot of people wondering, like, especially since the work for recording the footage from the original Final Fantasy 14 took so long, and I still needed to do timestamps. The whole thing's with the timestamps. If you're quite confused why I spent such a long time doing them, is because the mistake of my first draft was not putting any timestamps of where the footage was, essentially, in a game that has hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage. So that's not very helpful to me. So I need a very precise count of where everything is, and this is why the work with patch 1.0 took about a week, because I needed like about a day or two to make sure that it works correctly, to make sure like, I understand how it works and how you boot it up, fire the servers of the login server, map server, the war server, and how all that stuff is ran, and then actually learning how to manipulate the game, because you don't really play the game in the what the Project Meteor guys did with the server, because the game is sort of broken, but the part is that you can still watch cutscenes, which is what we needed, which is why it took around a week to finalize all the footage and make them into a VOD, and then actually timestamping that VOD. So that's the sort of the entire process of like why it takes such a long time, and it feels like I'm not progressing, which is sort of a very frustrating feeling. Yeah, and then right. All right, and you probably noticed in the past couple of days I've been gathering footage on other pieces of anime and stuff. And this is sort of a mini section on the idea of power, because we're gonna be talking about Xenosia Galvas, which is sort of like the prototypical like Vegeta story and all that. So I wanted to pull a sort of a small essay on that, which is integrated into the larger part, so to speak. So this means like watching all 300 episodes of or Dragon Ball Z. So you understand. So this is sort of like the what I have to do essentially is like why combing through the works is such a time consuming process, because I need to know exactly what happens, where the footage is, and what is talking about, and if it's related to what I'm like actually working on, so to speak. And sort of like watching 300 episodes of like Dragon Ball Z, of course, and then this is on. I'm almost done with Avatar: The Last Airbender, because we need to talk about Zuko and his relationship with power and all that. So, like, this is why quintessentially, and this is why I also spent a day recording DMC5 cutscenes of the whole Virgil "I need more power" meme and stuff like that. So basically, it's just a lot of this work is just very I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's very methodical, I guess. You want to talk like methodical, laborious. It's like it's sort of like editing videos. Like you know, you know what to do. Like there's no conflict about knowing what to do or what not to do. It's just sort of this very laborious process of just like sifting through the works and ideas about what you need, and then trying to get that footage, right? Right. And anyways, it's like so this is so far it's like where a mass majority of the time has been spent during this Stormblood section. In terms of the writing, it's mostly just like working, spending an entire month on Lease, which is I found to be pretty funny. But eventually, I wrote something at least I feel okay about, so to speak. Okay, and now to more practical matters. As I'm not dropping exercise from my schedule, which is really important to me, and as the summer heat waves are coming on and off, I can't really exercise in the time because I like running outside. I can't really exercise in the times I want to exercise, so to speak, because around noon it's like when we hit the 30 plus degrees around where I live, which is bad if you want to uh, do cardio outside. And also, you hear a lot of the sirens because I'm guessing because people don't know how to deal with hot weather. I came from Taiwan, so I'm very relatively okay. I apologize about the sirens. There's been a lot of sirens ever since the heat wave started, just so to speak. Right, but anyways, what that means is there might be a slight modification of the streaming schedule in which I will actually go on a lot earlier because I'll probably just start with exercise at the start of my day, and then after that, I will probably just go straight into streaming, and then uh, yeah, streaming. Yeah, I guess I'll still kind of figure it out. But anyways, I probably will try to start a lot earlier due to the sort of the schedule switch and sort of trying to avoid the heat. And lastly and finally is that I know a lot of people will drop me by because I was predominantly a gaming channel, and now I'm just a channel that works on his small project about existentialism, so to speak. Is just that I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you keeping me up to date on what's going on in the current video game news world, I guess you could say, about like what's happening with the industry, the video game industry, so to speak, and all that jazz. That I don't feel bad that I'm not playing any games because that's something I need to emphasize. I'm not the only game I'm really playing is Final Fantasy 14. And I only really play Final Fantasy 14 for the fact that I need to play Final Fantasy 14. not not in the case of like sort of like some sort of like enjoyment or anything like that, but it's the sort of the necessity of like needing to interact with the thing that you're talking about, so to speak. But anyways, uh if you dropped by in the past couple of months, I really appreciate you. I'm really thankful that you still come around and say hello. It's really cool to me. And yeah, this is it for the update so far.